Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're digging into the global market for treating varicose veins.
That's right. We've got a market report looking at 2025 figures and projecting out a bit.
Yeah, the mission is basically to unpack this, find out the market size, where it's heading, regional differences,
Yeah.
give you the key insights without having to read the whole report.
Exactly. We'll look at the value now, the growth forecasts up to 2033, regional splits, product segments, treatments, the whole picture.
And what's pushing it forward, what might hold it back.
Right. All based on this 2025 analysis.
Okay, so let's jump in. The starting point, 2025.
Right.
What's the global market value projection?
It's projected at USD 124.6 million for 2025.
So just over $1.5 billion. Pretty substantial.
It is. And the growth looks strong, too. The forecast goes up to 2033.
Where does it land then?
Expected to hit USD 2,542.22 million.
Wow. Okay, so what's the growth rate on that?
That works out to a CAGR, a compound annual growth rate of 6.60% between 2025 and 2033. So steady expansion. 6.6%. Okay. Now, the report mentions reasons for this growth. Increasing renewable energy resources and technological development. Did I read that right? Renewable energy.
Yeah, that's what's stated in the source material, the renewable energy link.
Yeah.
It does seem a bit unusual for varicose vein treatment, perhaps an indirect factor or maybe just a data point listed.
Right, kind of jumps out. But the other one, technological development, that makes immediate sense.
Absolutely. Advancements in medical tech, especially in treatments, are almost always a key driver in these markets. New devices, better procedures.
Makes perfect sense. Okay, so innovation is key. Let's break it down by region. Where's the biggest market share right now?
North America, clearly leading the pack.
Figures. What kind of share are we talking?
Over 40% of the global market. For 2025, that's estimated at USD 564.10 million.
Okay, almost 600 million. And their growth rate?
The CAGR for North America is projected at 5.1% through 2033. And within North America, I assume the U.S. is the giant.
Correct. The U.S. market is pegged at about USD 445 million for 2025. Its growth, though, is slightly lower than the regional average at 4.9% CAGR.
Interesting. What about Canada and Mexico?
Canada is around USD 67-68 million, with a higher CAGR 5.9%. Mexico is just over USD 51 million, also growing a bit faster at 5.6% CAGR.
So the U.S. dominates in size, but its neighbors are growing slightly quicker percentage-wise.
Exactly. That's the nuance there.
Okay, let's cross the Atlantic. Europe, second biggest market.
That's right. Europe holds over 30% of the market share. The 2025 estimate is USD 442.13 million.
And their overall growth?
Projected CAGR is 5.7% for the region, so a bit faster than North America overall.
Any standout countries in Europe?
Definitely. Germany has the largest market size, around USD 87.5 million, with a 5.9% CAGR.
Okay.
The UK is also significant, about USD 74 million, and growing even faster at 6.5% CAGR.
Higher than the regional average there.
Yeah. Then you have Russia, around USD 68.5 million, but with a slower 4.7% growth. And France, Italy, Spain are all in the 36 to $40 million range, with CAGRs mostly between 4.8% and 5.1%.
So solid numbers and pretty consistent growth across Western Europe, maybe a bit slower in Russia.
Seems to be the picture, yes.
All right. Now, the report flagged one region for really fast growth, Asia Pacific.
That's the one, APAC. It's currently the third largest, around 23% market share, which translates to about USD 365.90 million in 2025.
But the growth rate is the kicker, right?
It really is. The projected CAGR for APAC is 9.3%. That's significantly higher than North America or Europe.
Well, 9.3%. That's where the major expansion is happening then. Which countries are driving that?
Well, China is a huge piece of it, naturally.
Right.
About USD 153.7 million market size in 2025, with a strong 8.8% CAGR.
Still very high.
But India really stands out. Its 2025 market size is smaller, around USD 36.6 million, but the projected CAGR is 11.2%.
11.2%. That's the highest national rate we've seen mentioned.
It is. That suggests, rapidly improving healthcare access, maybe rising awareness, large population, lots of potential factors.
Incredible growth potential there.
Yeah.
Okay, briefly, what about the other regions? South America?
South America holds a bit over 5% share, roughly USD 58 million in 2025, with a healthy 7.3% CAGR overall.
And Brazil within that.
Brazil's the key market, around USD 24.8 million, growing at 7.9%.
Okay, Middle East.
Middle East is smaller, around 2% market share globally, about USD 61 million in 2025, but also growing fast at 7.9% CAGR. Saudi Arabia is highlighted there with an 8.2% CAGR.
So smaller base but rapid growth. Africa.
Africa's the smallest region in this report, about 1% share. USD 33.5 million market size, growing at 6.9% CAGR. South Africa is mentioned specifically.
Okay, so the big picture is North America leads now, Europe is second, but APAC, particularly India and China, is where the really rapid expansion is expected.
That summarizes the regional dynamics well, yes.
All right, let's pivot to the what. What kinds of products are we talking about in this market?
The report breaks it down. Ablation devices seem poised to dominate.
Ablation. That's like using heat or lasers.
Exactly. Things like endovenous laser ablation, EVLA, or radiofrequency ablation, RFA. They're minimally invasive, generally accurate, patients recover faster. So they're very popular.
That trend towards minimally invasive is huge across medicine. What else?
Well, the fastest growing segment listed is actually catheters and kits for sclerotherapy and adhesion injection.
Sclerotherapy. That's the injection method, right?
Yes, injecting a solution to close the vein. It seems advancements in the closure methods and its popularity for like spider veins and milder varicose veins are driving really fast growth in the tools used for it.
Interesting. So the tools for injections are growing fastest, even if ablation devices have the biggest overall share.
That appears to be the case according to this data. Then you also have compression devices, stockings and garments, and an others category. Yeah.
Okay. So how does this product breakdown line up with the actual treatment types being used?
It aligns pretty well. Sclerotherapy, or adhesion injection, is listed as having the largest market share by treatment type currently.
Because it's widely used, less invasive than older methods.
Precisely. Effective for many cases.
Mm-hmm.
But endovenous ablation, using those devices we just talked about, that treatment type is expanding rapidly.
Why the rapid growth there?
Several reasons mentioned. The sheer prevalence of varicose veins, perhaps linked to lifestyle, aging. Plus, these ablation techniques often offer really good outcomes, cosmetically appealing results, and faster recovery compared to, say, traditional surgery.
Right, like ligation and stripping. That's listed too, I assume?
Yes, ligation stripping is still a segment, alongside supportive treatments like compression therapy, but ablation is definitely the one gaining ground quickly.
So sclerotherapy leads, ablation's rising fast. What about the type of vein being treated? Does the report segment by that?
It does. The largest share belongs to treatments for greater saphenous varicose veins.
That's the big vein on the inside of the leg.
That's the one. The report suggests it's simply because insufficiency or failure is more common in that particular vein.
Makes sense. More problems there, more treatments needed. Is any other vein type notable?
Yes, the treatment of small saphenous varicose veins, that's the one on the calf, is noted as rapidly growing.
Why is that one growing fast?
Likely due to better awareness among doctors and improved diagnostics. We're getting better at finding and targeting problems in those smaller veins.
Okay. Better diagnostics leading to more targeted treatment growth. Finally, in terms of segments, where are people getting these treatments? Who are the end users?
Hospitals and ambulatory surgical centers hold the biggest slice of the pie right now.
Understandable. They offer a wide range, can handle complex stuff.
Exactly. But the fastest growing segment here is specialty clinics.
Vein clinics, basically.
Precisely.
Right.
Clinics focusing just on vein care. They often have the latest minimally invasive tech, might be more cost-effective for certain procedures, and really specialize. That focus is driving rapid growth.
So a shift towards specialized centers, mirroring trends in other medical fields too.
It seems so. There's also an others category for end users.
Okay, we have the segments. Now let's talk drivers. What's pushing this whole market forward?
Well, we've touched on some already. A big one is definitely increased patient interest, even demand for less invasive options.
People want effective treatments with less pain and downtime. Makes total sense.
Absolutely. Another key driver is supportive government regulations and, importantly, medical payment policies. If insurance covers these newer procedures, that obviously boosts the market.
Right. Reimbursement is critical. Anything else?
And, of course, continued research and development. R&D leads to those technological advancements we talked about, better devices, refined techniques.
So, patient preference, supportive policy, and ongoing innovation. Seems like a solid foundation for growth. Are there any roadblocks or restraints mentioned?
A couple of potential headwinds. One is the substantial expenses of some medications or possibly the procedures themselves. could limit access for some patients or in some systems.
Cost is always a factor in healthcare. What else?
The report also mentions insufficient standardization in industrial procedures.
Meaning, like protocols aren't consistent everywhere.
That seems to be the implication. A lack of standardization could potentially affect, you know, quality control or the predictability of outcomes across different places.
Okay, so cost and standardization are things to watch. What about overall market trends?
The big ones really circle back to what we've discussed. Technological development constantly fueling market evolution. That's huge.
New tech, changing the game.
And also growing awareness. More people understanding that varicose veins are a treatable condition, not just cosmetic, and seeking treatment earlier. Prompt treatment is a growing trend.
So better tech and more informed patients seems positive. The report mentioned some specific company news too.
Just a couple of recent snippets to illustrate the competitive landscape. AngioDynamics got some coding standards approved late in 2024 for a type of therapy, showing their work in minimally invasive areas. And Cyton expanded one of its platforms, called MJOLE, to include specific vascular treatments also in late 2024. So companies are actively developing and launching relevant products.
Players making moves. Good examples.
Okay.
Let's try and wrap this up then. Based on this deep dive into the 2025 report, what are the core takeaways?
I'd say first, the market is healthy and growing quite significantly, projected to cross USD 2.5 billion by 2033.
Solid growth path.
Second, regionally, while North America leads in size, Asia-Pacific is the hotspot for growth, especially India showing remarkable potential.
Right. Keep an eye on APAC.
And third, the big trends are the clear shift towards less invasive treatments like ablation and the rise of specialized clinics delivering that care.
Minimally invasive and specialized care are key. Great summary.
Sure.
Now, for that final thought to leave folks with, given this strong push towards minimally invasive procedures and seeing that explosive growth potential in places like Asia-Pacific, how might digital health really shake things up further?
Yeah.
Things like advanced home monitoring, maybe AI helping with diagnostics remotely. Could that change who gets treatment and how easy it is to access, especially in those high-growth regions?
That's a really interesting question. Telemedicine, remote diagnostics, they could certainly lower barriers, maybe increase early detection in underserved areas. It connects directly to that trend of prompt treatment, too.
Exactly. This report gives us a great snapshot, but where technology takes access and delivery next, that could be a whole other story.
Definitely something to watch.
All right, thanks for exploring this deep dive with us today.